Hello, I'm the top loader. How did you guess? Well, I gave it away too quickly because I told you. Enough with the dramatics and enough with the suspense, because it's me, it's here, it's nothing new for you. Anyway, what is going to be new though is what I'm talking about, because what you have decided for me to talk about is on my shelf. It's up there. The Nintendo 64 Blue. Why do I have a Nintendo 64 Blue? Well, why wouldn't I? Well, the Nintendo 64 for me, honestly, is not my favourite Nintendo console in the world. I know, shock horror. It's so popular. How do I not love it so much? I do love it. I do like it. It has its place in history. Mario 64, we know it defined those 3D controls with the analog stick. I know, it's a classic game. It was a turning point in 3D platforming. It defined gaming in many ways just from that one specific release. Has it aged the best? No. Is it classic? Of course it is.
Do I really need to explain that?
As awesome as that game is for the history of Nintendo and gaming in itself, I think the Nintendo 64 has its place there too. Has it aged well as well? I don't think it has, but it has its fans, and for good reason. But it also has its detractors, also for good reasons. If you love a console, awesome. I love it too. I just don't play it as much as some of my other retro consoles. It was a part of that initial jump to 3D, and the first few steps in a much bigger world that was new for everybody. Which means that you're gonna have some issues initially that are gonna be looked back retrospectively, not always with the best vision from the future to the past. Unless you're wearing rose-tinted glasses, of course, which I'm not. I've got my eyes open and they can see exactly what's there in the past, on the shelf and when I play it. Which was a lot of good games for the time that they were made in. For the first Nintendo 3D console, it did well. Now, Mario 64 was a great start for the system, but it didn't stop there. No, this is just the beginning. This is not the end, although some people would argue that it was all downhill from here. But those opinions, I leave in the dust. I mean, how fun does this look? Alright, there's no stopping us now. Let's move on through and see another point of view. My son loves playing Mario Kart for the N64. He just loves it. And it's got some great tracks on there. If I was to say that Mario Kart 8 is the best Mario Kart in the world, would you believe me? Probably you would. Because it probably is the best Mario Kart to play. But Mario Kart 64 for me personally, I actually like better than many other Mario Karts, including the original.
What did you say, punk?
Well, just the Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, you don't have to fire shots. I'm firing the shots because I understand what I'm saying, so I'm firing them at myself. I love the Super Nintendo so much. The Super Mario Kart on that to me is honestly a little bit hard to handle. I'm good at the game, don't get me wrong. I just think that the Mario Kart 64 handles a little bit better.
But then again, Mario Kart 64 handles a lot worse than Mario Kart 8. It's all on the map.
So it's like this trickle down the line. You got Mario Kart 8 up here, handles really well as it goes down. The controls get less and less good as you get back to the Super Nintendo. Then you got Mario Kart 64 with the Nintendo 64 controller, which for me handles just fine because a lot of people hate that controller, but I love it. So I think it works quite well for that game. Does it handle as well as Mario Kart 8? No, of course not. I'm not an idiot. In case you haven't worked that out by now, I'm not an idiot. I know you're shocked. I'm as shocked as you are. Look at me, I'm shocked. I can hear myself talk, you know.
And don't judge. What type of person are you? I mean, are you a cross folder? No judgments here. Or are you a side folder? Yeah. Now who's judging who, huh? We're all friends here.
I got my N64 when the Xbox and PlayStation 2 were out, so of course no one was really buying these, and I love to get the variations. This has the variation of Ice Blue.
But there were so many more.
This was something that no one was really after because it's a Nintendo 64, it's old. Once something's old, oh my god, no one wants it, right? Of course people like me want this stuff. I'm still buying it, I don't care if it's old. I was buying the NES when I was buying my PlayStation 2, so I was still buying retro back then. I was buying old consoles, I loved it. I don't care how old a console is. It's still good games. Just because they're old doesn't mean they're not good games to play. Of course we know this. We all know how great retro gaming is, and I was right back then to buy it because it is a great console. It's not the best console for me, but it's a great console and it's got great games.
Despite people hating the controller. Of all things.
Most people hate it, but I love it. The N64 controller for me is the N64 hero, because the hero of the N64, personally.
Unless, of course, you see it more as a villain, like a Klingon bird of prey. Or maybe the Slave 1, if that's more your style. The interpretation can go either way, I guess. I like this controller, so don't let it pass by you just by the way it looks. Anyway, I need more blah blah to talk about. So I think it's time that we change location and move around a little bit. There is more to the N64 than nicely mowed landscapes. And as green as that grass looks, let's start those engines and make our way to another castle. Because I'm sick of looking at this one. Red light and green, let's go! As there's been something else playing on my mind. On the day that I got my N64, the very same day, I got something else. Something rare. So now, I think it's a good time to talk about the squirrel in the room.
Conker. Surname?
The squirrel.
You would have to be a sodding squirrel, wouldn't you?
Well, I did buy Conker's that day as well. Conker's Bad Fur Day I bought for $40. I bought that for $40, I bought that for $50. So $90 that day I bought Conker's Bad Fur Day and a blue N64. Not a bad price. I knew it was a great price back then because it was a great price back then.
And it was good. Real good. I guess.
Why, is there a problem with that?
Well, yes, there is, actually.
Well, there was just one small minute regret that I did have. Very small, very minor, tiny. Can't even see it. Where is it? I can't even see it anymore.
You know, at the time I walked out the store and I thought to myself, you know what, I really should have bought more.
Hang on. That's your big regret? Hang back your head.
So of course now I'm thinking to myself, God, I wish I bought all those Conker Bad Fur Days that I had sitting on the shelf, because I had about 20 of them. I had about 20 of these as well, but it doesn't matter. The regrets. And I actually knew back then that it might be rare because it's a variation in colour.
And Conker's got a mature rating for a game that was coming out for Rareware, a second party to Nintendo, but only presented by Nintendo?
And how often are you going to see a Nintendo release a game like this? Not very often.
So they kind of let Rare publish it themselves, that Nintendo presented, which is why I believe it's so rare now.
I think, because not that many people bought it. It did come out later in the Nintendo 64 life as well, which doesn't help why it's so limited to buy now as well.
You better get this fat-ass bitch off of my back pronto.
I mean, yeah, there's lots of different reasons why it didn't sell.
It's right up your ass, you know.
Which eventually turned out to be the same reasons why it's so sought after to buy now.
Marvelous.
Alright, let's finish this before heads roll. That's too late. Say what you want about the Nintendo 64, because believe me when I say it's been said before. There are so many games on it that are worth playing for sure. And the box is right when it says, as clear as day, only for the Nintendo 64. So say no more. And whether you love it or hate it, well, that's up to you. And that's okay, either way.
The N64. That's why I bought it. That's why it's on my shelf. It's a great pick. Because I picked it back then myself as well. And it's up there and I don't regret it. Of course not. Why would I? I'd be a fool, an idiot to regret it. And I am not an idiot, as we all know. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you're still there, I'm sure what I was talking about was well worth the listen. I'm sure. So thank you for listening, and see you next time for whatever else is on my shelf I'm going to talk about eventually. Bye. Why am I talking to myself? Tell me, why the fuck am I talking to myself? Please tell me. Why am I standing here talking to myself? If you don't know, why do I know? Because I don't know a whole lot, and that's one thing that I do not know. Why am I standing here talking to myself, talking to nobody here, but no one is in front of me? Eventually someone's going to be watching me, but right now there's no one there. All I'm talking to is a microphone, a camera. That's it. We're all over. We're done here. I'm out of here. Turn it all off. Off, off, off. Off microphone, off camera, off computer. It all goes off now. I walk out of the room and done. Finito. Finished.
Yeah, that's how it works. I think it when I say it. Sometimes without thinking too much about what I actually say. But you know what? This time I have said exactly what I was thinking. And that's exactly what I'm gonna say.
Why am I talking to nothing and nobody? Because this is insanity, right? Okay, can we talk about insanity for a bit? Well, you know what? You're looking at it. I don't have to talk about it. You can see it. What does it look like? Looks like me by the sounds of it. And I know what it sounds like because it sounds like me. Oh, I think I'm just gonna lie down. Oh, nah, fuck this. Oh, nah. That's all I needed. Just a bit of a breather on the ground. Right.
It's gonna be one of those days.
Well, I might as well go. I'm not talking to anybody. Bye.
Understand?
Well, sounds a bit strange, but okay.
Strange? The best bloody deal you're going to get, you little prick. Right, that's it. Piss off.